did you think of Demario being honored with the team's Walter Payton Man of the Year award?
My first thought is just so deserving. I can't think of a bigger ambassador for our team, for this club, the city, the state, and me just coming in here and learning what he's done over the course of his entire time here in New Orleans has been humbling to see him give that much. And I see it on display. I'll be at the FNA Friday, flag football game, and I'll see Demario there watching his kids play and just seeing the whole field, there's like 9 or 10 fields gravitate towards him. And anywhere we go, game day or, we've gone to Orange County for training camp, his reputation precedes him. And so I was able to observe it from afar, when I was the head coach and certainly being younger in the league. And, he's as good as it gets, and he's what the league is about. And I think he's what that award is about.
Hey, Brandon, what does it say about him that he's able to balance football and his community side of stuff?
He's just a pro's pro. I think he's one of one. He's part of that rarefied era of just special player. I mean, special player, and also off the field, just special person, leader, affecting so many people, affecting so many things. And, the league is so fortunate to have an ambassador like him.
Terrell not playing in 2024, what made you guys want to see what he had left back in the spring? And is there any part of you that just went back to the initial evaluation when you first drafted him, 20 years ago?
Yeah,
that kind of
definitely. What you just said is what we did. And when we drafted him, we had a real vision for what he was going to become, and I think that he definitely lived up to that. I mean, he was starting in 6 DB defenses on the #1 defense in the NFL. And when he got hurt, I mean, that was a tough thing for us because he was playing really, really well. And so there was a big future ahead of him there. And, and then I left, to go to the Chargers. And, what happened to him is what happens sometimes in the NFL is he got some injuries and just kind of, got lost there a little bit and then had to go play on a bunch of other teams. But, I know the player that we evaluated coming out, and sometimes you just need a second chance at it, and go into the right fit. And I think this team, our organization, starting with Mickey and, Jeff and that staff with the personnel department, I think that they felt good about him, what they knew about him going to other places. And then I certainly gave him my perspective. And when he came in here, he was hungry, he was humble, and he's performed exactly like he did back then. And so we're glad we have him.
What was kind of the evaluation? I mean, not really.
Yeah, just, at Utah, #1, their defense was incredible that year. They were #2 in the country defensively. They had 9 seniors drafted off that defense, including Blackman. And, he had outstanding cover skills. They play a lot of man-to-man. So you saw him play a lot of man-to-man. He was really good in the box, tackling. And then at the Senior Bowl, he played in the deep part of the field and did a really nice job playing deep. And just, I've got a lot of respect for Kyle Whittingham and Morgan Scalley, that group of guys. And, we needed a safety. We really only had 2. We had John Johnson and Taylor Rapp, and John was coming off a shoulder injury. So we just felt like he had a lot of flexibility playing star or money too. We kind of had that vision for him. And that's what he did for us. As a rookie, he was the starting dime money and a backup safety for us. So, we're just, glad that he's with us. He's provided us a lot of depth. He's doing well on special teams. And, he's part of a good DB culture right now.
What did you make of Kool-Aid's chase down, fourth down?
Man, just a great trigger play by him. I think he knew the run was coming, and so I think he saw the formation and knew that there was going to be an opportunity for him to attack the edge, and then when that edge shortened, he went for it and then made a really good open field tackle. But I thought you saw his instincts on display and his play recognition, which I think is a couple of his top qualities. And I think you saw it on the interception too, kind of in the same way. Knew exactly what was happening with the route, was able to play off that into the deep part of the field, come off that, kind of 2-man combination there into the boundary and show his ball skills. So, very instinctive play, and I think he had real playmaking in the game.
Is that the kind of instinctive mental side is this game? Is that one of his strengths? I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
size, speed, all that stuff there. Otherwise, it's not a second pick, but you see like good out of that area.
Absolutely. I think being the environment that he came from with Coach Saban, he was trained really well. I know that Nick really trusted him to the fullest. I mean, he started as a freshman in a very pro-style defense, and one of the top comments that came out of Nick's mouth was his ability to operate the complexity of the tools that DBs have to work with when you're operating stacks, bunches, motion adjustments. He said that Kool-Aid's going to be able to do that at a top level, and I think that he's put that on display in his first 2 years as a pro. And as a play caller and as a defense, when you can have your corners operate like that, with that level of trust, it allows you to have more layers in your defense. And so from a scheme perspective, I think he allows us to play more things. And then his concept recognition is I think outstanding for a corner, which is going to get him closer to more plays. We're glad we have him, and he's playing better and better as the season goes on.
Yeah, on the other side, have you seen Quincy's ball skills play out at this level that you kind of envisioned?
Yeah. Yeah, in that same way, for sure. We felt like he had some of the top ball skills at corner last year in the draft, and our personnel people did a great job of painting him in the draft. And then we, as coaching staff, taking a look at all his all-star game stuff, all his personal workout stuff. We went to see him live. And so I think that we really felt strongly about him. And then in training camp, as you guys saw, he made a bunch of plays during training camp right off the get-go that I thought validated that, sort of belief. And then since he's gotten into the fire as a starter for us, I think he's put it on display too. So I thought that play against Miami was that was a quality catch there by him. And, and again, he's improved from a fundamental standpoint, from a technique standpoint. He's playing with more confidence, and usually with more confidence comes more playmaking.
I know you often reference like basketball stuff, but I remember saying in the draft that he grew up like playing center field.
Yeah.
Do you guys look for that in players sometimes? Just like to see, that sort of, I guess when you play in that position, you're always looking at ball track.
Yeah.
You try to identify traits like that.
For sure. I like Kool-Aid coming out. Kool-Aid was a big-time basketball player, and one of the top players in the state of Alabama. And so I think that you have that natural ability, that way. And then Quincy had a big track background and other sport background. And then going from Middle Tennessee to Louisville, you saw him have production at both places. Yeah, you want that as much as possible nowadays, is the guys that can, you can reference the background in a bunch of sports, and it also shows their competitiveness too. But if you want to produce in the secondary at the top level, you got to have guys that can go get the ball, and I think they give us that ability.
With a guy like Julian Blackman, and there's so much excitement to finally get him on your team and everything, and with him on injured reserve, just how do you go forward kind of maximizing any opportunities that you do get with him in case there is an interest in the relationship continuing in 2026?
Yeah, I think the training camp aspect in that first game week, we built a really, cool foundation with him that he knows. He's got enough experience now. He's gone through free agency a couple different times. I think he knows what's out there, and these guys are always going to do what's best for them, but I think they know that we're a quality option, and I think that he knows that he was headed towards a big season. I think the way that he played in that first game, it was such a quality performance, and and I think that he knows how that felt, and he knows how that looked, and certainly there's a lot of time between now and that decision. But I think that he also saw our organization, what it means to be a Saint, and seeing our ownership and personnel department, playing for Kellen as well. So yeah, I'm glad we got him.
What do you make of the depth you've had to have at that position? Just given Blackman, Reed's hurt now, Sanders on injury report today. Retired.
Yeah. You can't have enough depth in this league. You gotta go find as many good players as you can. and it's never over. You got to keep onboarding good players too. And I think our coaching staff has done an outstanding job. I think when you talk about Terry and Grady, Peter Genta, Robert Blanton, that group in the secondary, I think that they've done a really good job of cross-training these guys and making sure that they're continually developing throughout the season. I think you saw in the preseason, everybody got the quality and the reps. And so you need to develop that for a long NFL season, especially at, linebacker, safety, those, kind of car crash positions at times. So I think we've been able to display that depth, and we're going to need to continue it throughout this last stretch of the season. But I thought last week at safety, Jordan and Terrell coming in played winning football for us. They had winning performances and gave us a chance to win that game.
I know we've asked you about Isaiah Stalbird, increased playing time, but is that role you have him in a role that you were looking to fill in your defense, or you kind of created it to use his ability?
That's a great question. I think we just created it. I think what you're trying to do is maximize everybody on the roster and create a role for them, regardless of the position that you think that they can fulfill and that can help your defense. And we felt like on third down, we were looking for some speed. We were looking for some pass rush ability that could really, I think, give us another dimension, give us some hybrid quality, and he's such a dynamic athlete. We felt like it would pair well with the other guys that we had, and certainly on third down, that's such a key down. It's an important down, and we felt like his skill set really fit. But there's other examples too of our defense that I think have given someone that's maybe it's a small role, but it's an important one. Maybe not in the same way of a third down. It could be for a run stopping play. Could be kind of like what Chris Rump does for us at times. I think that's what playing team defense is about. And I think, again, when I talk about the depth, you need it for matchups and you need it for attrition, in a long season.
Baker and the shoulder injury, last week against the Cardinals, is there any level of maybe he's playing a little differently?
I wish it were true. I wish it was slowing him down, but Buda Baker's got a free run on him last week, and Buda's one of the top players in the league, and Baker's able to get out of trouble still. He had a really good performance last week. I didn't see a dip, in his performance, and that's what makes him such a special quarterback, is that he's going to play with a ton of guts and will, his team, and he's going to be out there if he can. So I didn't see it. I didn't see it with him throwing the ball either, because he had a couple throws in that game that were, kind of textbook Baker throws. So, he's a tough customer. So if it's bothering him, he's doing a good job of hiding it.
And is that something you would look for, just generally speaking, like if someone is dealing with something, just if you're trying to find any potential advantages?
Oh man, we're trying to find every inch we can. Trust me. But with him, it's hard because he's going to play. He's going to go for it, and that's what makes him such a good player. Is he's going for it, and he's going to do whatever he can to help his team win.
Apologize for not knowing the numbers off the top of my head. It seems like Stutzman's played a little bit more lately. Is that has he just been earning more time? Or is just kind of part of your plan to just introduce him more?
I think he's earning it. And I think that's a compliment, because I think Pete is playing really well too. I think Pete's played solid the whole year. But I just think Danny's, anytime he's gone in the game, good things have happened for us. And we're just going to try to continue to play the guys that earn it. And right now we've got kind of a cool thing going at linebacker. And we're going to try to continue to feature that, because all of them are doing important jobs for us. And as long as they keep producing and playing the right way, then we're going to continue to try to play them.
What's kind of the relationship in that room amongst the players?
Yeah, so you have Demario, and then there's a gap. And in terms of space and time and experience. And then you have Pete, who has got a ton of experience, who started and played a ton of games, and then you've got a bunch of young guys. And so those two guys have really led the way. And then you've got this eager group of guys behind them, Stutzman, Jalen and Isaiah, who are learning to be just like those guys. And I think I've seen the impact those two have made on their professionalism and their ability to improve, knowing that they were in that same spot once. Demario was a backup linebacker once, you know. Pete was a backup linebacker once. And, you know, showing these guys what it takes to eventually become, you know, somebody that can be depended on, you know, to start and play meaningful minutes in this league. So I think that's, you know, Pete Sermon and Adam Gristic have done a great job with that group. And I think their play, you know, speaks for itself in terms of development and then the overall production.
Just to clarify about Sanker, if you can say, he's listed with a head injury. Is that a concussion-related thing or something else?
Catherine, I'm going to defer to Mickey and Kellen tomorrow.
I get that answer, but
It's a veteran answer.
answer one day earlier.
Tomorrow, guys.
I'll just save it for 24 hours.
Yeah.
The coaching point, Isaiah Stalbird on those pass rushes the same as your FNA coaching, that they have to time their speed and
There's a lot of carryover to FNA coaching and what's going on with Stalbird. Seriously. And I probably need to borrow some of their coaches to get the point across, and may have to send them to FNA to learn to finish some of these rushes. We've been joking about it. We've been joking about it because he makes harder tackles on special teams. He makes like these miraculous like tackles in like 50 yards of space, and then he can't knock these quarterbacks down. But I need to do a better job coaching. That's for sure.
Are you coaching in front of it?
No. Strict. No. I'm only emergency. I want to watch my boys play. I'm emergency coach only. And I've had to coach in California. I had to take on a role. And we got humbled one day. Like, I mean, the head coach got like torn up. So it's hard to win no matter what league you're in. So. Yeah. Jordan Palmer, who was my son's coach, he had like a prior engagement, and there was like all the other dads were gone, and then I had to come alive, and we got humbled. You know, had a couple.
Coach again, what?
No, I mean, I'm ready to go back at it. Just I would prefer to be a dad. I prefer to be a dad.
Do you remember what the score was?
Oh man, it was not good, guys. We had some players out, no excuses, but we got killed. So.